Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Jay Encarnacion, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are thrilled to have Peter Nicholson, the founder of Skinny. Peter brings decades of experience as a chief creative officer at top agencies like Hill Holliday, Deutsch, and Publicis, with iconic campaigns for brands like Samsung, Adidas, and the New York Yankees. Based in New York, Skinny, founded in 2023, is a lean creative studio revolutionizing brand strategy and content production with AI-driven tools. We'll be exploring his founding story, how Skinny empowers brands, and the vision for scaling this innovative venture. So, with that being said, let's dive right into it. Peter, welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yes,
it's awesome
absolutely, man. An
to
honor
be
and a
here.
pleasure to have you on the show today, Peter. Really would love to start at the top for our listeners with you. If you could take us back to the beginning, what specific problem in the creative or advertising landscape really inspired you to start Skinny?
The simple word is flexibility. To me, flexibility, it was as a chief creative officer and thinking about brands and the growth strategies they need and trying to solve problems that they're facing, especially nowadays in modern time based 20 years ago, 10 years ago, when media was much more a controlled medium for the agencies. It's a real difficult solution. It's not a cookie cutter solution. And because of that idea of flexibility became something that was constantly having to go, hey, look, we need X people, we need UX person, I need a traditional creative, I need a creator, I need an influence strategist. We need different groups of people to execute against a grander idea that we'd come up with to solve the problems for the client. And the challenge is agencies, places I've been, big, great places, but unless you have multiple clients that are doing it the same way, it's really difficult to hire people full time. And you get caught in what I can't stand of the billable hours and percentages of people. And I've got a 3% of a person on one business and five.
Yeah.
And it just isn't reality of how things work. And that model, it just goes against kind of the fluidity and flow of what is going on in the world of marketing communications now. And I think the core thought of brands need to develop meaningful relationships and provide meaningful value to people every day, whether it's the product, how they interact with them, how all aspects of their touch points they have to be thinking about them all the time. And it's really difficult to have an agency or somebody, this one entity trying to do all of that. And that's the big reason that I said, look, it's time to go off, do it on my own and build really more bespoke models to clients so that I work on a project-based model mainly because the projects for clients are never the same twice. And so building a real solution to what they're having to deal with is the goal. And the next time I work with them, I have similar people, but they might have some other issue that needs to be brought into it to maintain that ongoing idea and why people want to be a part of that brand's kind of universe, as I like to say. And if you're constantly trying to do it the same way, you're never going to be doing it the best. And the only reason I can really do this now, why not only myself, but I've seen other agencies and independent groups popping up is really great talent. It's out there. Everybody is not really wanting to work for anybody or
Right.
anymore. Whether it's freelance or whether it's longer term, they want more projects and they want things that they actually believe in. And so being able to create projects for people that takes part of their time and dedication, but doesn't get them stuck in a rut of other stuff is what I'm finding to be a lot of what people are looking for.
I love it. So with that, I definitely would love to get into the nuts and bolts of what you're doing with,
Mhm.
especially for our listeners who, once this episode comes out, could very well come and want to work with you and your services.
Right.
So walk us through how you're really generating revenue today. So a couple parts to this question for you here, Peter. The first is going to be, who is your ICP? Who is that ideal client that you like to work with now? And what is the core offer there? I know you have some AI powered content tools, some
Yep.
brand
Yep.
strategy. What's the core offer, how it's structured, and who do you like to work with?
We really like to work with, I still call them startups because they're early, but they're
Yeah.
funded. They're not like looking for round, they're on their second, third round of money, or they're a small independent company that's wanting to continue to grow. And they don't have a $10 million ad budget. They've got a few million if they're lucky to spend on media, or they've got $100,000 of production or some type of marketing money that they've allocated for outside resources. Those to me are the ones that are getting underserved right now because it's hard for certain kind of companies to work with them. And that's where we've set and built our model of we can work with those groups. We don't have a ton of overhead. We're coming in with senior people, very senior people who are smart and solve problems really quickly. And that's been another one of our things is we don't take 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Like we like to go fast. Sometimes we go faster than the clients that we work with, but that's the way we set it up to start. And then you mentioned AI. We bring in a bunch of different AI tools plus our own proprietary kind of mix with that in a back end coding side of things to help work out some of the issues that exist across all the different products that are out there now. But we've combined a few different things. Then, not that they're taking people's jobs, but what they do is they allow us to operate at a bigger scale, faster in terms of the distribution and execution of some of the ideas that we have against the money that the clients have. One of our kind of main, I'll say, creed that we go about is we don't want your money in overhead. Your money needs to be in media and your money needs to be in production. So we try to maximize that and keep everything very lean, skinny, and very direct. Here's the skinny. And we try to do it in that way and build it in those kind of streamlined executional ways. And again, I think one of the other things is we're not precious with our work. We really are trying to look for really good business solving ideas that then we know creativity is going to be hugely important in making sure that the attention is higher for them and we can deliver on the metrics that we agreed to with them in the beginning.
Yeah. I love it. So with that, I would definitely want to hear a bit more of your mindset on scale and scaling Skinny to that next level as far as
Yeah.
the offers that you have right now and productizing them. How are you approaching the idea of scale? 'Cause it sounds very personalized for the services that you are providing. So how are you thinking about?
Yeah, that's one of the things that this is a philosophical thing, and for people that I think it's one of the things that people need to make decisions about early on when they
Mm,
start it. And myself and my partner, President Tim Rivera, he and I said, look, we're going to do this. We need to be involved with all of our clients. So the minute we can't be involved, we have too many clients. So what we've done is we've taken that approach of how do we maximize, in some cases, 5, 6 clients max and hits a revenue nut that we're looking for, and we're comfortable with that. And then our
right.
model does don't grow beyond that. Because what happens is the minute we do that, we remove ourselves from what we're telling clients in the first place of how we're going to stay involved in the businesses and stuff. And one of the reasons we can work 6, 7 clients at a time is because we do, bring in other aspects with AI and some of the different tools and flow systems that we can build for processing that allows us to not have to spend our time doing those things, but spend the time working on the ideas. But it really is a kind of max level. And so we've told clients when we're working with them, look, we can work on 4 or 5 projects at a time, and you're one of the fourth. So, if you want to work with us, great. Soon we may not be able to work with anybody for right now. And so far, that's been a good and bad thing. We've definitely run up against times where we've seen someone's called in some work that we're really interested, but we can't do it.
You know.
Yeah. And but our projects that we take on, they range from most time you hear someone say a project, oh, it's what, 6 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Some of them are a year. We'll do a year project, but it's not a retainer. We won't do AOR with them, but we will do like most of the projects are 6 to 8, 10 weeks at the max. And we really, really set those up. And if we can do that with 4 or 5 at a time, it works really well. And the challenge is a perfect world. We're staggering them all, and all year long, we've got these perfect 6 to 8 clients that's rolling along. But the reality is, we get 3 or 4 of those going on at one time, and then you're sitting there going, "Oh, they're going to all end," and then there's nothing, and you got to go find some more stuff. But that's just the nature of, I think, the way the businesses work, and some of the I think one of the things that's a big shift that's going on is just the yearly secular business of marketing and advertising was very predictable for many years. Like, you knew budgets will get twice a year. You had clients that were on mid-year, July to July, or they were on calendar year. You could build things around that.
Right.
Now it's kind of all over the place. And because of that, it's very difficult to know when things are going to be busy, when they aren't going to be busy. And I think clients are starting to be less inclined to fork out a whole bunch of money and say, we're going to hire you for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and call it a deal. We've got 4 projects that we want to try and see if these can attract a new audience. And if they don't, we're going to pivot and do something else. And that to me is becoming the new reality, big and small. But that to me is where it again comes back to the flexibility that I think is really going to make it possible to smaller agencies like us, and why we like that kind of world.
Love it. I love it. So it really sounds like the scale is not so much of a factor on your mind. Really trying to keep it close knit, keep it close, not trying to grow, really have your clients provide that quality and go from there. So as far as the lead sides and acquisition side, what does that look like for you, being that you're not looking to get to a huge point? You're really, sounds like you have
Yeah,
the clients you need right now. So how does
this is the challenge, and I think as we're around longer and longer, we're getting better and better at it. But it is a challenge to talk to clients and go, are they ready? Are
that?
they at a stage that they want to do work? Do they have a budget to do the work? And really, have they thought through what they really need to do? And we run across a lot of conversations. We do a lot of conversations, and then we're ready to go in 2 months, 3 months, and you just really got to figure out what is it that they're waiting for. What's their challenge? And really, the hardest part, unless we know them, is getting that transparency of what is what is your real timeline, what is your real budget, and what is it that you really want to accomplish. Because when they don't know that, or they try to hold that back, it makes it really difficult for not only us, probably anybody, to figure out, what do you want me to do for you. You could build something with the little bit of information they've given you, and it would be so far out of their budget. And then there's only so much access of the information that you can get with them, especially the ones we like to talk to, where a lot of them mostly aren't public companies, so they're private. So they're not sharing a lot of their numbers, they're not sharing their growth strategies, et cetera. So they got to let us in a little bit. But I think that what we're finding is, I'd say it takes 3 to 4 months for businesses and clients to sign a deal, really.
Mm.
And that's fast. And the thing that's frustrating is, we just look at things much faster. And I think that's one of the things that clients are slowly getting better at. But procurement is a big part of all businesses nowadays, or someone in a procurement type role. And they're really going to challenge every aspect of what they're going to spend on it, whether it's 5 grand or more. And because they're really going to want to see some type of results. And a lot of times they may not be set up for that. And we've run into things where we've actually prevented them or told them not to spend the money they wanted to do, and do a TV spot or do this. because they hadn't figured out the actual customer interaction and journey that they were going to have to actually fulfill on any of that. And so that's actually something that needed to be fixed first. And so those kind of things pop up all the time, and then clients haven't thought about it that way. But I think that's where those kind of conversations become more interesting. And I get excited because that's really what we really want to do. We just are in there trying to help them make grow and do better. And it's hard if they're small. That's the challenge.
I love it. So with that, I definitely want to go into the lightning round here because the time
Mhm.
is on us here, Peter. So as far as this side, I would love to hear your vision for the rest of 2025, going into 2026, knowing that you're at a point right now where you have all the clients you really need and you're comfortable there, and the ones you're bringing on are slowly but surely. So what does the rest of the year look like for you with that continued growth and success?
I think what we're looking for, we're trying to get into helping retail clients a little bit more. I think one of the things that retail businesses are still at all scales are still running in a older model of what they've been doing. And they're probably the ones that need more than anything to adapt to quick term production, quick, really leveraging AI, doing a little bit more experimentation on audiences, micro audiences, really taking social platforms and understanding the value of the platform with inside the platform of how they have to work. And the main reason I say that is the bigger retailers that are, it doesn't really matter what they're in. They have so much competition from small DTC brands and small brands starting up that they may not see them as a competitor or stealing business share from them. But if you compile all of them that are doing it, it's
Mhm.
huge. And the number of options for them out there is massive. And I think retailers, especially traditional ones, are stuck in a cycle that they're just getting killed by really small companies, which I'm happy for, but I want some of those retailers to start to think about things in a new way. And they talk about it, but they've got to act in a slightly different way. And they have to think of themselves less of a destination and start being more of a brands that go to the people instead of waiting for the people to come to them.
I love that. I just have one more for you here before
Ah,
we wrap up the show, Peter, and that's going to be on the advice side. What is the
mhm.
best piece of advice that you can offer to our listeners tuning in right now? Just heard your incredible journey and the successes that you're already seeing. What can you leave them with before we wrap it up today?
I think the thing that I've learned that, look, I love this business. I think that's one of the big things. So whether it is in marketing and advertising, like you gotta love doing what you're doing because otherwise it's a pretty brutal business.
Yes.
But I think when you start to do your own thing, there's always anxiety and fear to start it. But I think every day I wake up, I feel happier. I'm in control of what I want to do and the way I want to see and help people and choose the businesses I want to work with. And I think that's been a big, huge part of it, of the happiness of the mental satisfaction beyond just the financial side of it. Financial side's nice, but it's less about making millions and millions of dollars as much as just using your brain and feeling really good at the end of the day of what you've done and developing relationships with real brands that you believe in, which I think that's been a big part of it and what I love. And I think being a founder, that's the part you got to constantly hold on to, especially on the days that you feel like you suck and you're not going to do well. And nobody rings and nobody calls you on the phone. It's temporary. Everything's temporary. So you just gotta just remember that you love what you're doing and stay committed to it.
Love it. I love that. With that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. And Peter, just want to thank you so much again for coming on the show and
Yeah.
sharing that amazing journey and your insights. And clear as day, with your passion and your drive, that success is going to continue to show for you. So truly an honor and a pleasure to have you on today. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, which I know so many of you have, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And also check out Skinny at meetskinny.com to learn more about their innovative approach. And don't forget to follow Peter on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/PE Nicholson. For more resources and insights, don't forget to visit us here at closers.io, where we are dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their growth through trained appointment setters and world-class marketing systems. Until then, keep climbing, and we will see you on the next one.